Hey, welcome everybody and welcome back to LWN Network with headline hits today, noon Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday, May 14th, 2025, hump day. And if you've seen, and we've got the story later, that our president is in Qatar and he was greeted by a bunch of camels, which was kind of funny, but kind of wonderful because it is hump day. So we have a few great stories here for you guys to be able to join us and hear about this morning. And like I said, we're going to talk about the celebrations the last 2 days in the Middle East and the things that have been accomplished, which to me are simply amazing. So thanks for joining us. And we're going to play this little quick intro, and I'm going to be right back with your headline hits. Thanks. First up today, we have the United States and Saudi Arabia have reached a $142 billion arms deal. President Trump did sign that and speak about that yesterday from Saudi Arabia. In addition to purchases of $142 billion of American-made military equipment by our great Saudi partners, the largest ever actually this week, there are multi-billion-dollar commercial deals with Amazon, Oracle, AMD, Uber, Qualcomm, Johnson & Johnson's, and many, many more, the president said. So the commander-in-chief touted the quality of American military products moments earlier. Nobody makes military equipment like we do. It's the best military equipment, the best missiles, the best rockets, the best everything, the best submarines, and by the way, the most lethal weapon in the world. President Trump estimated that with the trip to the Middle East, which includes stops in the United Arab Emirates and Qatar before he returns on Friday, this administration would help secure $1 trillion in additional investments in the United States and U.S. companies. Trump has overseen a major influx of investment into America since he returned to office. We've been keeping well track of that. He's estimated late last month that investments in the private sector and other commitments since January 20th would soon total more than $8 trillion. We have a total of close to $8 trillion, he said, and there's never been anything like that in this country. We've never had anything close. He would said, if you looked at the last administration, probably for 4 years, they did maybe less than $1 trillion, and we've done almost $8 trillion. And that's in 4 years, and Trump's only over 100 plus days in this administration. On the first day, full day actually, of Trump's second administration, Stargate, which is a joint project between Oracle, OpenAI, and SoftBank, did announce a $500 billion investment into the United States, which was followed by a respective $500 billion announcement from Apple and Nvidia. Now, Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturing company, which is TSMC, is committing to $100 billion, while dozens of other companies have unveiled substantial investments as well. So a really cool thing was when Trump took the stage. If you guys didn't see this, I would suggest looking it up, for the Saudi Investment Forum where he spoke. It was upon his entrance, it was to Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA. And the crown prince there actually stood there smiling and clapping for the president. He looked like he was having a really good time. It felt more like a rally, and not to demean what he was doing there or the Saudis. It was just a beautiful presence that they gave, a beautiful ceremony with the utmost respect. And it was just really good to see some lightness and happiness in the air there. Elon Musk is there as well. He was standing behind the crown prince. And it was just like Trump, like I said, being on stage at a rally. And at the end of his speech, they did play YMCA. And the crown prince approached the stage, approached Trump, and they posed for some pictures as YMCA was playing. And I just thought this is surreal. This is like Saudi Arabia, and they're at center stage, and he's with the crown prince, and they're playing YMCA. And they just really seem to have a wonderful, beautiful, good relationship. And I mean, isn't that what we want? We want to be able to negotiate and have allies and be able to not take it on the back all the time, to have equal trade, fair understanding of the United States of America, because we've been the piggy bank for so many years. So it was a great accomplishment in Saudi Arabia for sure. Next up, the story we have is about ICE. ICE is definitely keeping the heat on. ICE agents did arrest almost 200 criminal illegal aliens across Nashville, Tennessee. It was thanks in part to the agency's 287G agreements with local law enforcement. Now, among these 196 illegal aliens that were arrested by ICE agents during the Nashville operation, 95 were convicted criminals, and those with pending charges against them, including MS-13 gang member who wanted in native El Salvador, his country, for murder. So don't believe the hype when some people are saying that they're arresting these innocent people that are here for protection and everything else. So out of the 196 arrested, 95 were convicted criminals and had pending charges against them. In addition, 31 of those arrested illegal aliens have previously been deported from the United States. So they were deported and now they're back in. They got to be deported again. So they're not only costing us worry and problems and crimes in the United States of America, is causing us money that we have to keep deporting them. But DHS officials in a news release slammed Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell for supporting sanctuary city policies that shield even the most violent criminal illegal aliens from federal immigration enforcement. You can't even believe this, that a mayor of that city is protecting them. He said, the officer was saying, the DHS Assistant Secretary, Tricia McLaughlin, was putting out a statement regarding this. And she said that you would think that all the public officials would actually unite around DHS, bringing these violent criminal illegal aliens to justice and removing them from American communities, protecting our communities. However, their pro-open border politicians would rather promote and protect illegal aliens than American citizens. She was saying this operation resulted in getting gang members, sex offenders, and other violent criminals off Nashville streets. President Trump and Secretary Noem are going to continue to stand with victims and the brave ICE agents who were on the front lines making America safe again. And just to give you an idea, some of the people arrested in this sting, this 196 people: Frank Vasquez, a 33-year-old illegal alien from El Salvador, MS-13 gang member who is an active red notice in El Salvador for aggravated murder. His prior criminal record includes possession of methamphetamines, possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to appear in court, and criminal impersonation. That's one of them. Another one is a 60-year-old person, a legal alien from Iraq, Jassim Rash, who has prior criminal conviction for rape, as well as convictions for larceny and false imprisonment. He was previously arrested for failing to register as a sex offender and was ordered deported from the U.S. on September 1st, 2021. So he was ordered deported in 2021, and he's still here. So Carlos Rodriguez is another one they arrested, a 39-year-old illegal alien from Guatemala. He has a criminal record that includes aggravated assault. Richard Baptiste is a 36-year-old illegal alien from Haiti who has convictions of methamphetamine possession with intent to distribute and marijuana possession. We have Imar Membrano, who is a 34-year-old illegal alien from El Salvador who has convictions for aggravated assault and possession with intent to manufacture, deliver, and sell cocaine. So all in all, almost 400 local law enforcement agencies across the U.S. have signed up to join ICE's 287G program, which I told you about at the beginning. This is the program they're working under to help better the agency arrest criminal illegal aliens. If we could just get these mayors and these politicians and even judges from harboring, hiding, or protecting them. So when former President Joe Biden left office, just 134 police departments had 287G agreement with ICE. Now today, more than 500 police departments have signed such agreements. So definitely a positive move, pro-America. I think that's wonderful. And once again, those are just some of the people that I listed. You can look it up and you can find all the records on these people they arrested, these illegal aliens. And once again, they're not families, innocent families looking for protection and security here in America. They are criminals. Next up, we have President Donald Trump did take aim at the globalist-led European Union this week, the EU, declaring it nastier than China. Those are big words, and exposing what he says are decades of unfair trade practices that have left American workers and industries in the dust. So he spoke on the White House on Monday, May 12th. And he wasn't really pulling any punches. He said, the European Union is in many ways nastier than China. We've just started with them. They sell us 13 million cars, and guess how many we sell them? 0. They flood our markets with agricultural goods. We can't even get ours in. They don't take our products, and we have all the cards. So Trump's remarks did come during the announcement of a sweeping executive order to slash prescription drug prices for American consumers. We heard all about that. The plan aims to stop U.S. citizens from subsidizing Europe's state-controlled health care systems. The EU has been brutal, Trump said. The drug companies told me horror stories. We've been paying for Europe's cheap medicine and we're done. Europe's going to have to pay more and America is going to pay a lot less. The policy will either compel Big Pharma to lower prices voluntarily or face pressure from the federal government. This is the power of the American market, Donald Trump emphasized. We're not going to be taken advantage of anymore. The European Commission's, the EU's executive arm, both last week threatened retaliatory tariffs of up to $95 billion worth of U.S. goods if trade talks falter. A bluff, says Trump allies. White House trade advisor Peter Navarro blasted Brussels' threat as a grave mistake, warning that it would be a backfire spectacularly if they did indeed do that. So we need to follow up on this and continue on this and see what develops out of that. Next up, we have impeachment. That word we talked about earlier in the year, in February or March, I think, when I was doing headline hits. Well, it continues because the House Democrat moves to force Trump impeachment vote. Who is that House Democrat? It is Representative Sri Thanenur. He introduced a resolution as privileged on Tuesday, yesterday, meaning leaders have 2 days to take it up for a vote. The rep is from Michigan, introduced his impeachment resolution as a privileged on Tuesday afternoon, which means leaders have 2 days of the House in session to take up the legislation. House GOP leaders could move to the table to motion it on the table. A procedural vote aimed at scuttling a piece of legislation without having lawmakers vote on the legislation itself. But an impeachment vote would probably put vulnerable House Democrats in a tough spot. We know they have nothing as far as policies and to go on. Democrats have struggled to unite behind a potent message since the 2024 election. And really, I think, and many out there experts think, that such a vote could be politically perilous for the most vulnerable members as they work to win back the House majority in 2026. Remember, we keep talking about midterms and how important they are to de-seat and dethrone some of these politicians that we don't agree with, that aren't following through with what we want as American citizens. So no Republicans are likely to support impeaching Trump. However, meaning Thanenur's measures will likely fail, which is a good thing. Donald Trump has unlawfully conducted himself, bringing shame to the presidency and the people of the United States, Thanenur said, when deeming his resolution privileged. I don't think that he's bringing shame to the presidency. I think he's doing quite the opposite. And the people of the United States, I don't know about you, but I'm proud to be an American citizen again with our leader. And I'm proud of what I've seen the last 2 days in the Middle East. He's an Indian-born Michigan Democrat, Thanenur is, and he first introduced 7 articles of impeachment against Trump in late April. And they include, these are the charges he brought against him: obstruction of justice, tyranny, bribery, corruption, and abuse of trade powers, among others. So I don't know about you, but I think he just got himself out of office, because I don't see very many people siding with him. Like I said, especially with all the trade deals going on, with all the money, the billions and trillions that are coming in to this country because of what President Trump and his administration has been doing in these short few months since he took office. Next up, we have a court win for Trump. This is on the good side, finally. A federal judge did allow IRS to share illegal alien data with DHS. The ruling came as the Trump administration continues to target criminal illegal immigrants for deportation. You wouldn't think this would be such a hard thing to do, but when you have people fighting against you, you see how convoluted and how tied up in the justice system and how financially draining it is for the American citizen when we got this back and forth going all the time. You would think everybody would want illegal immigrants to be deported, especially when they're criminals. Making a fight that they should stay is beyond my understanding. But what happened was a federal judge on Monday did deny an injunction request to prevent the Department of Homeland Security and Internal Revenue Service from partnering to permit U.S. Customs and Immigration Enforcement, which is ICE, to access taxpayer information to locate illegal immigrants subject to deportation. Now, this order by the U.S. District Judge Dabney Frederick came amid a lawsuit by immigrant rights groups against Treasury Scott Bessent. So immigrant rights groups are the ones that put this lawsuit in, and it was against our Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. A couple of nonprofits representing immigrant workers in the Chicago area did bring the lawsuit against the Secretary of Treasury, the IRS, and Commissioner of Internal Revenue, and Melanie Cross, seeking to block the disclosure of personal information of taxpayers and other confidential tax records to the Department of Homeland Security for immigration enforcement purposes. In a statement, Tricia McLaughlin, who is the DHS Assistant Secretary of Public Affairs, said information sharing across all federal agencies to identify immigrants is essential in order to determine what public safety and terror threats may exist so we can neutralize them, scrub these individuals from our voter rolls, as well as identify what public benefits these aliens are using at taxpayer expense. Under President Trump's leadership, the government is finally doing what it should have done all along, sharing information across federal governments to solve problems, she said. Biden not only allowed millions of illegal aliens, including gang members, suspected terrorists, and violent criminals, to flood our country, but he also lost them due to incompetence and improper processing. So that's another aspect of the Biden administration that we are dealing with now. They lost track of them. They didn't process them properly. The open borders where everybody was just coming in, whoever wanted to. So information sharing across all agencies is essential. We want to know who's in our country. We want to determine the public safety and terror threats they may exist so they can get them out of here. Also, our voter rolls, we don't want them voting. Why would we want them voting? They're not American citizens. So she said today's ruling was a victory for the American people and for common sense. And I'm going to agree with that 100%. And then next up we have, as I talked about at the beginning of the show, the president was in Saudi Arabia. Now he is in Qatar. Air Force One was escorted into Qatar by F-15 strike fighters of the Qatar Emiri Air Force, and the president is already signing deals in Doha. This morning, President Trump and his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, were signing a series of deals. And this is a continuation, actually, of what we saw with the President Trump yesterday in Saudi Arabia, when the Saudis did pledge $600 billion. Now here in today, Qatar, likely hundreds of billions of dollars more are coming into the United States due to these deals. The first deal announcement was from Boeing, sounded more of like a civilian variety. Qatar Airways mentioned the significance. It is the largest U.S. military base in Qatar, and the Qataris pay for it. And they do not want any airstrikes on Iran from here. They've always been clear about that. But this is a major hub with over 10,000 American troops that are stationed there. The Air Operations Center here runs the skies over the Middle East and back and over Afghanistan as well. So today, like I said, is the continuation of President Trump on day 2 in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia yesterday, Qatar today. And when you stop and think about it, this being the major hub and 10,000 troops are stationed there, this is how important Qatar is. If you don't understand, you just look at these videos that are out, how this Trump administration is just being so transparent. You can see everything going on as it's going on. And it's basically what he's doing is opening up America for business. There's a lot of defense companies that would love to be making more weapons, would love to be employing more Americans. And that's what we're seeing in Qatar is a quote out there. Trump has also announced the U.S. is removing all sanctions on Syria, citing a new government and hopes for stability. So for me, my impression of the celebration of President Trump's arrival of the last 2 days between the Saudis and the Qataris has been nothing less than spectacular. It really does make me proud to be an American, to watch our president in the last 2 days resolve and receive such respect, resolve issues, make deals, major deals worth billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, coming back to America via investments. Everybody that said and was worried about the tariffs and all the different deals that he was putting down hard on these people and putting America first. I think that as we're seeing this Middle East tour, it has been incredible, and it's calming, it's reassuring when you look at how the Crown Prince and broke protocol and greeted President Trump on the tarmac, which is not done. It was amazing. It was a sign of respect. It was a sign of authority, of a great leader that he was meeting. They have a great relationship. Like I said, it was great to watch. So much fun that they were having while accomplishing major deals for both countries, to be peaceful, to talk, to negotiate. And in Qatar, it was the same thing. The president was walking in, and the prince there, before they got to the desk where they started signing deals and talking, the prince stopped and actually let President Trump walk in front of him to go to his side of the table, which was another sign of respect. And that is incredible. We didn't see anything like that with the last administration. So to me, it's wonderful to see this, experience this, and to have some hope and optimism of our country. It will take a while to get back. We know that on our feet. It will take a while to reverse everything that has been done against us. It will take a while to get manufacturing going again in the United States like the president's administration wants it. We know that. The startup to make these buildings, the startup for these production companies, it will take a little bit. But so far, so good. And it seems very optimistic to me. The president will return on Friday, but we will definitely report tomorrow on the latest on what he's doing in Qatar and the deals that are being made. So in the meantime, that's what I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for joining me on Headline Hits this Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. And I will check back with you guys tomorrow. We'll see you then. Take care. God bless, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.